St. Thomas University Journalism present The Basement Files.
Welcome to this week's Basement Files. I'm David Bardwell.
And I'm Sarah Perez, and these are the week's top stories.
And we'll look at the economic benefits of businesses opened by immigrants in the province.
The beginning of spring has brought flood concerns in the province, causing certain roads to shut down.
Landing a job after university has become more difficult nowadays. There was a time when a university degree assured you a good job, good pay, and a comfortable life, but not anymore. Today, the unemployment rate for youth in this country is around 15%, double that of the general population. In order to resist the high employment pressures, some students have started their own businesses. Sherry Hahn reports.
Next to me to the students who have gone before me. I am privileged to be in the company of such men and women. From this day forward, when I wear this tea, it will convey that I belong among men. You may now turn your name with me.
Graduation time is near, and many grads are worrying about their future. Courtney Vinson will graduate from St. Thomas University.
I really wanted to work in marketing. I was hoping to stay in New Brunswick, but there's not very many jobs here, so I'll probably have to leave. I have no idea where I'm going, but hopefully I'll find something in marketing or communications, and someday hopefully I can come back here if there's more jobs.
Statistic Canada says New Brunswick economy is continuing to sputter with the loss of the 5,700 jobs in February. 4,000 full-time and another 1,700 part-time jobs. The real crisis is increasing number of university and college grads who are underemployed or scrapping by on low-paid part-time jobs. Madison Gillis is a third-year student at St. Thomas University. She has lots of friends facing this problem.
In this province, they're a little bit hard to come by unless you work minimum wage, but that hardly will sustain somebody unless they work 2 or 3 of them even.
To pay off their debts and avoid dead-end jobs, some want to start up their own business. One student sees an opportunity in the food business. Only 5% of the food consumed in New Brunswick is locally grown because most of the people don't have access to local food. But third-year University of New Brunswick student Kelsey Hogan wants to change that. Hogan wants to create a farmers market on the web to distribute local grown food such as vegetables, fruits, and bread.
The ideas that we've had is to include a story about the local farmers with each of the purchases. So if you're buying your carrots, for example, you have a story about the farmer who grew those carrots. So it's connecting people to their food, getting them more aware of the food system here, and really making them more aware of just where it's coming from.
The idea was proposed 5 months ago at the setup weekend in Fredericton. Hogan says she hopes it will be ready to operate in May.
Here's a few of our products. This here's the trucker hat. It's a mesh back. It comes in 3 colors. As you can see, I'm wearing a black. It comes in navy.
Fourth-year St. Thomas University student Sawyer Hannay is running his own country labor clothing brand now. He wants to create a product that could proudly represent his culture, upbringing, and lifestyle.
We brainstormed long and hard of how we wanted, especially our original design, to look like, and we'd like to capture all aspects of the country. My partner and I, Ty, are from a very small town where there's not a lot going on, and growing up, ever since I was just a tiny little kid, we've always had bonfires. Throughout the week we'd have bonfires. Our big outing on the weekend would be a bonfire style party or whatever it may be. So we felt that the bonfire was very important to incorporate.
In the early September, the Cultural Liberal clothes start selling at the University of New Brunswick Student Union Building clothes retail store, and also online. After graduating, Hannay plans to study for his master's degree in UNB and keep expanding his brand.
We have a few in mind that will be announced at a further date. But we certainly have a few in mind, and a few that we'd really like to be a part of and work with. We've heard a lot of good things about a few retailers here in the province, and like I said, around the Maritimes. So we'd certainly like to work with them eventually.
Recently, Programs and events have been organized to help students create their own business, like Setup Weekend and Youth Entrepreneurship Summit.
Do what we're supposed to do, and that's what's expected. Do you want us to challenge that, or just go with the flow and try and find yourself in that rhythm?
It is hosted by Punishment Student Ambassador, a two-day summit to encourage youth to take actions, seek opportunities, leverage support, and join the entrepreneurial community in Atlantic Canada. This year, more students than ever have gotten involved. Third-year UMB student Connor Morant is one of them. He is passionate about music and wants to start a music business.
I think the biggest thing is that you just have to be bold. You really have to find something that you truly enjoy doing, and you have to be extremely passionate. And if you combine all of these things together, and then you stick it out through both the good and all of the bad times, then that is what's going to bring you, by far the most success, right? Nowhere in life is it going to be easy to do something that you love, but again, if you're truly passionate about what you do, then that's what's really going to matter in the end, and you will find a ton of success.
Joanna Nickerson is a social innovation manager of Punishment Center. She says, startup business are a great option for graduates.
I mean, people are coming out of university and there's a lot of problems that we're facing as society, so of course it's really important to be engaged and have ideas about how to fix those and how to be involved. And it doesn't really matter about what you're passionate about. There's always opportunity to start business, whether it's something small that you do on the side of a career or it becomes your whole career. It's a really great option to consider.
Right now, job is hard to find, but some students believe creating their own job with their own companies may be the best way to pursue their passions and build their careers that way. For Still Journalism, I'm Shahram.
Fredericton is becoming the home for thousands of newcomers. The businesses and talents they bring to the province are impacting the economy and diversity in the cities. Maria Burgos will tell us more about this story.
Alright, so big dip.
Samosas. They're tasty and popular, but they're relative newcomers to Canada, like the Fajir family who makes and sells them. In a way, they're both immigrants who found a new home in Canada. The Fajirs are some of the thousands of immigrants that have moved to Fredericton during the past years. Over 7% of the city's population are newcomers who've come from more than 50 countries. Immigrants are one of the main boosters of the city's economy. They bring access to new markets, new products, and ideas. They bring change in the form of new businesses. For example, the famous samosas. The Patel family introduced samosas to Fredericton in 1970. In 2008, they decided to retire, but the Fajirs took on the business as Yummy Samosas.
The original samosas here is just chicken, beef, lamb, and turkey and vegetable. I added the chickpeas, I added the mixes, I added the doner, and I added cheeseburger, and I added the cheese, the feta cheese.
15 workers help Ms. Fajir cook thousands of samosas per week. They supply the Grad House, St. Mary's, the Superstore, and some restaurants, and even deliver frozen samosas to Moncton and Newfoundland by UPS.
You know, here Canadian people, I found they love to try something new, always something new. You know, like they don't all the time chicken, beef, vegetable, chicken, beef, vegetable. Every time I ask something, people will come back and I give some, I put a lot of example. People will try it and then they come back for more.
Most immigrants who want to open businesses in Fredericton do so through Ignite Fredericton's business incubator called The Hive. Julia Ramirez is the populist growth specialist at Ignite Fredericton.
The Hive idea is to provide a space for newcomers that are coming to open business to bridge them between them and the community. So it's easier to integrate and it's easy to understand how we do business in New Brunswick.
Shahram Gambari began his business Quark Oil and Gas Services at The Hive. It's an international corporation that gives training and solutions to gas and oil companies. Gambari came from Iran a year ago and plans to give work to the many jobless in New Brunswick.
Because of the oil price decline, there were lots of layoffs since last summer in Calgary. Lots of them moved again to New Brunswick to live here, but there are not enough jobs for them. And through this initiative that we have started, we can employ those people, recruit the people, and send them to other parts of the world.
Many Canadians worry of losing jobs to immigrants, but the truth is immigrants bring job opportunities to Canada.
If you want to hire a foreign worker and you want to bring them here, you have to demonstrate that you have tried to fill the position before, and you have to prove that there is nobody in the community that can fill the position.
The University of New Brunswick's Technology Management and Entrepreneurship program is another business incubator. Many immigrants created startups with their mentorship. From having 20 students in 1998, they now have more than 500. Dr. Dhirendra Shukla is the chair of this program.
It is challenging, but immigrants come with such passion, such drive. They've given up so much to be here that they do well.
Kumaran Tilainadaraja came to study at UNB from Sri Lanka. He's the owner of Smart Skin Technologies and was part of the Technology Management and Entrepreneurship program. His startup business, created in 2008, builds pressure sensors used in high-speed packaging plants for businesses like Coke and Pepsi.
We've built a fantastic business right here in Fredericton, and I think one of the strengths, one of the advantages that New Brunswick or Atlantic Canada has is the ecosystem and the environment that we have. There's a lot of people in this region who want to help you because they want to see you succeed, not because they have an ulterior motive or they want something from you. So it's just quite refreshing.
Smart Skin has 18 employees, 14 in Fredericton and the rest in Chicago and Munich. Creating a fun and rewarding work environment is what Tilainadaraja is most proud of.
I had the opportunity to start a business that I would want to work for. And so I created an environment that was very rewarding to young engineers. And I think a lot of people that choose to work at Smart Skin do so because they enjoy the work, and they enjoy the people they work with, and they enjoy the environment.
Immigrants come a long way from home. They bring tiny parts of the world to us. But also, by setting up new businesses, exporting products, creating alliances between corporations, they take New Brunswick to the world. For Stu Journalism, this is Maria Jose Burgos.
Whatever Maritimers wear, they might have to consider including rubber boots.
Every year, the St. John River fills up with large amounts of melted snow and ice, causing ice jams, storm drain overflow, and water over downtown streets. Chris Robinson went out to the capital city to see how people might deal with the flooding this year.
Flooding is something Fredericton expects every spring. The thawing of large amounts of ice and snow caused too much water to flow down into the St. John River. In 2008, Fredericton saw one of its worst floods when water levels reached 28 feet. 1973 provided Fredericton its worst flood, where water levels reached 28.3 feet.
Citizens of the province need to be aware of the flooding risk of where they live. So you need to know what the elevation of your property is to know when flooding might occur.
Retired NBEMO manager Randy Robinson knows how flooding occurs in the capital region and what you can do when it happens to you.
They should move equipment away from the water's edge. Things that are in their basement or on lower levels on their property need to be moved to a higher elevation, and those things that cannot be moved need to be secured. So for example, your furnace oil tank that may be located in your basement needs to be secured to the wall with straps. You need also to know how to get the power disconnected, because if your basement is gaining water, you do not want your electrical panel to be impacted by the floods.
Johnson also said that Fredericton's north side is the most susceptible location for flooding.
You'll see it first at the park there, the green off Waterloo Row. You'll see it there first, and then as the water levels come up, then you see the walking trail be impacted. And then if the water gets very high, then it starts to come up through the storm sewers and floods intersections in the city's downtown and lower, basements in businesses in the downtown.
Fredericton is remaining hopeful that the small amount of snowfall this year won't affect flooding. If you or someone you know is affected by flooding, be sure to take the necessary precautions. In Fredericton, I'm Chris Robinson.
From floodlands to highlands, dancing is a time-honored tradition.
Highland dance has grown in popularity all around the world. In New Brunswick, dancers from every age are trying to learn the skills in order to practice this Scottish tradition. One particular dancer in New Brunswick called Nicole has made it to the World Championships and qualified in the top 6. Jordyn Baxter has more on this story.
And tight, and push it out. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3.
It takes precision and dedication for these dancers to perfect their sport. And Nicole knows all about it. She teaches this class here at the Curry Center. She's preparing these girls for their upcoming Canadian Championship competition, something Odo knows quite well. Odo has been dancing since the age of 7, where the love of the culture lured her into learning the sport. She started teaching when she was 16.
My grandfather grew up in Cape Breton, and I always used to go to the Highland Games up in Antigonish. So he was always a big fan of Highland dancing, and I was younger and spending a lot of time at Highland Games. So then I became involved with it, and I've been dancing ever since.
Competitive Highland dance has been a tradition in Scotland since the 1800s. The agility and grace of dancers focus on the elevation of jumps, intricate footwork, and the coordination of leg movements to their arms and head. In competitions, dancers are judged on timing to the music, their technique of movements, and general conduct on stage. The tradition has grown worldwide. However, locally, it's smaller than other parts of Canada.
It's a lot smaller in New Brunswick. However, we've come a long way as a province, and I think we've done a good job of promoting Highland dancing within the community.
5, 6, 7.
Highland dance is focused on the individual rather than a team. This individualist discipline drives Odo in her practices.
For me, it's always been the competition. So I'm a big perfectionist. I love competition. And I've always enjoyed the individual aspect. So I know that my results they reflect my work ethic and how much time I've put in to dancing that year.
But what goes into a dancer's head while they're dancing? For Odo, it depends on the situation.
For when I'm competing, blank. I don't think I have one thought, which sometimes people don't think is a good thing, but it's complete autopilot. When it comes to practicing, 100% thinking about all your different corrections, breaking everything down. So I find in practice, my head's going, but in competition, not at all.
While Odo's placements in competitions reflect her practices, it is also shown through her students. They feel they are getting the most out of their time spent with her.
Definitely a hard worker, and she puts everything into her teaching, so she's really good. She'll give us lots of corrections and really pushes us to our max when she's teaching.
I want you guys to think about getting to your position before you land your hop, okay? Because right now we're just kind of getting there, which is fine, but I want it a lot sharper.
Odo has her tricks to her wins. As she showed her students, she takes the steps and focuses on a specific aspect until she has it right consistently.
I've always enjoyed taking something apart, working on it, perfecting it, and putting it all together in the bigger picture. You have to come top 3 in your province in order to qualify to compete in the Canadian Championships. So this is from this past year. This is the 18 and under 21 category.
At the age of 20, the years of dedication has paid off. She has won several Canadian Championships and has accomplished her ultimate goal of placing in the World Championships.
And then these other medals sitting on the other side are the Cowell medals. So these are given out at the World Championships. This one in particular was given for my 6th overall placing in the World Championships, and this was just I believe a 3rd place medal for a particular dance. Right now, my goal because they change as I get older because you move into different categories and things become more difficult. So now I've moved up into the adult category, so I would ultimately like to qualify for the World Championships and then place in the World Championships again.
Watch that ending.
On top of teaching, she is a full-time student and still frequently competes in competitions around the Maritimes. Since coming to university, she still manages to make time for it all.
Through high school was a lot easier for sure. I could focus more on my dancing, especially on the weekends. I spent every other weekend traveling to Prince Edward Island for extra training sessions. As I've come into university, it's been a lot more difficult. I've taken on a lot more students to teach, and I still have to manage to fit in an hour of practicing a day, school from 8 to 5. It's busy, but I think you can always make the time for it.
Despite the busy schedule, Nicole has used her practicing and her mindset to shape herself as a dancer and as a person. And this dedication has even spread to her students.
But she's definitely inspired me to work harder and stuff, because just like when you're with someone that works as hard as she does, it kind of like makes you want to work even harder. So
Nicole's regular practices are one of her biggest motivators to continue in Highland dance.
I think so. I think that me being able to focus on dancing during the day and for just, an hour or 2 hours a day and just focus on that one thing, it made me a really determined person. Like, I knew what I needed to focus on when I needed to focus on it. So, dancing isn't the place to think about the 10 assignments I have to do, and school isn't the place to sit and think about all the things I have to think about dancing.
At the age and place in life when dancers usually stop, Odo doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. Sharing this tradition through teaching and using her determination will be something she carries with her for a long time. For St. Thomas Journalism, I'm Jordyn Meade-Baxter.
That's it for this episode of The Basement Files.
Make sure to check out our website for more news.
And be sure to check out our final episode of the year.
I'm Sarah Perez.
And I'm David Bardwell.